I've already compared these two old Scots fiddles on a different video, so I'll keep the explanation to a minimum. This is an amateur fiddle. Many towns and villages in Scotland had amateur makers, and this one comes from Kelso. It was made in 1854, in February 1854, by a man called J. Keith, and that is the only thing known about him. So he would make fiddles, I presume, for his own pleasure, and indeed for people in the district who might want a fiddle for dancing or just listening to. Going to play an Irish tune, Lament for Owen Roe O'Neill, a wonderful old Irish lament, one of these interesting irregular ones that you get from Ireland. And here it is, first of all, on Mr. Keith's old violin. Now here's the second fiddle. This is professionally made by a man called John Carr from Falkirk. It was made in 1909. It's properly labelled and all that. It's a very handsome violin. It's made from imported tone wood, that is wood specially seasoned and ideally grown at over 10,000 feet, which is good for making violins. And it has an interesting scroll, which is an antique, a lion's head. Anyway, John Carr's violin is a fine violin, and he was a trained maker. He was also a very good player. He ran a music shop down in Falkirk. He made violins, about 60 of them, and he sold them and repaired them. So here we are. This is the same tune, Lament for Owen Roe O'Neill, and the sound is different. One thing I should probably do, and I'll do it quickly, is play the other violin immediately. Right, it just occurred to me that you need to hear them close together. Now, with me talking in between the two, it's difficult to hear the difference. They're very different to play, and I think the sound is different too. The Keith violin, which is a smaller violin, has a slightly, or maybe more than slightly, sweeter sound. It's not as strong. The Carr violin is a very strong violin. It projects it very well. There's a lot of sound, and it's actually quite a big violin. But, although there's nothing sour or over bright or anything in its sound, it's not quite as sweet as the other one. Which do I prefer? I don't prefer either. They're both lovely to play.